Welcome to Storytime with Ancient Wisdom. In today's episode, we have a magical story for you called The Magic of Springtime. It's about a brave young girl named Lila who loves spring more than anything. But one year, spring doesn't come, and Lila sets off on an adventure to find out why. Along the way, she discovers the importance of making the most of every moment. So, get comfy and enjoy this special story.
The Magic of Springtime. Once upon a time, in a small village nestled between rolling hills, lived a young girl named Lila. Lila loved the springtime more than anything in the world. The soft petals of cherry blossoms, the songs of birds, and the warmth of the sun on her face made her heart sing. But this year, something strange happened. Spring wasn't arriving. The snow didn't melt, the flowers didn't bloom, and the trees remained bare. The villagers became worried. Without spring, their crops wouldn't grow, and they would have no food for the year. Why isn't spring coming? Lila wondered one chilly morning as she wrapped herself in her thick winter coat. She missed the bright colors and the laughter of the village children playing in the meadows. Determined to find out why spring hadn't arrived, Lila visited the Wise Owl, who lived in the tallest tree in the forest. "Wise Owl, where has spring gone?" Lila asked. The Wise Owl ruffled his feathers and said, "Spring is sleeping in the land of seasons." "You must wake her, Lila. Only someone who truly loves spring can do it." "How do I get to the land of seasons?" Lila asked. Wise Owl nodded toward the forest. "Follow the silver stream. It will lead you to the gates of the land of seasons. But be careful, for the journey is full of challenges." Without hesitation, Lila thanked the owl and set off on her journey. She walked through the cold forest, following the silver stream. Soon, she reached the gates of the land of seasons. Standing before the gates was a giant stone lion. "You cannot pass," the lion growled, "unless you answer my riddle." Lila nodded bravely, knowing she had no other choice. The lion's eyes gleamed as it asked, "What blooms when the world is cold and brightens even the darkest day?" Lila thought about the riddle carefully. She knew the answer. "Hope," she replied confidently. "Hope blooms in the coldest times and brightens every dark day." The stone lion smiled and stepped aside. "You may pass." Lila entered the land of seasons, a magical place where winter, spring, summer, and autumn lived together. She walked until she found spring, sleeping under a tree covered in frost. Flowers surrounded her, waiting to bloom, but they were trapped in the cold. Lila knelt beside spring and gently shook her. "Spring, wake up. The world needs you." But spring didn't stir. Suddenly, a voice behind Lila spoke. It was Winter, dressed in a cloak of snow. "Spring will not wake unless you bring her warmth," Winter said. "Only the one who loves her most can do that." Lila realized what she needed to do. She thought about all the beautiful things she loved about spring, the smell of flowers, the sound of birds, the warmth of the sun. She closed her eyes and imagined spring in all its beauty. As she did, her heart filled with warmth. "Wake up, spring," Lila whispered, her heart glowing with love. The warmth from Lila's heart spread through the air, melting the frost and bringing life back to the flowers. Slowly, spring opened her eyes, yawning and stretching. "Thank you, dear Lila," spring said, her voice soft like the breeze. "I overslept, and the world has been waiting for me." With a wave of her hand, spring brought the flowers to life. Cherry blossoms bloomed, grass turned green, and birds sang happily in the trees. Lila smiled. "The village will be so happy to see you." Spring thanked Lila and promised to visit the village soon. With spring by her side, Lila returned home, where the snow had already begun to melt. The villagers cheered as they saw the first signs of spring, the green grass and the colorful flowers blooming everywhere. Lila felt proud of her adventure and happy to have saved her village. But she knew it wasn't just her effort. It was her love for the beauty of spring that had woken it from its slumber. From that day on, whenever the first flowers bloomed, the villagers would remember the brave girl who had brought spring back to them. The end.
I hope you like the story of the magic of springtime. Did you know that this story is actually based on an old Chinese saying? The saying goes like this: "Even the orioles and flowers fear the fading of spring. How can one allow themselves to waste away the spring?" What does that mean? Well, it's kind of like a reminder that time is really precious, just like springtime. Even the birds and flowers who love spring so much don't want it to end. So, the saying is telling us that we should always make the most of our time and not let it slip away. In our story, Lila didn't sit around waiting for spring to come. She knew how important it was and decided to take action. She loved spring so much that she went on a magical adventure to bring it back to her village. This is exactly what the saying is all about: making the most of the good times and not letting them pass us by. So remember, whenever you're enjoying something special, don't waste it. Just like Lila, you can make the most of every moment. Thanks for listening to another episode of Storytime with Ancient Wisdom. We hope you enjoyed it, and we can't wait to see you in the next episode. Until then, have a great day.